You are golden, you are good enough, like your fire from within. You're inspired, you inspire us, it's gonna be all good again.
Hi, and welcome to the Roar Indie Author Interview Series. I'm your host, Brianna. These podcasts are brought to you by iFreak Publishing, as well as the Mama Knows Not a podcast. Today's guest is Maritza Mejia. She is a bilingual author in Spanish and English, and she's going to tell us about some of her books. And first, to start, what inspired you to be an author, Maritza?
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, everybody that is going to watch us. What inspired me is my motivated passion to help children and teenagers be a better self. I write creative stories, poems, reflections to inspire people to think about difficult topics, to think about ecological awareness. And I do everything in English and Spanish.
That's awesome. I wish I was fluent in Spanish one day. Maybe.
Yes, one day at a time.
As close as I can be to fluent as possible one day. I'm working on it. Can you tell us about which book or books are part of the Roar vending machines?
Well, here it is. The purple shell is going to be part of the Roar and Golden Ticket to Reading Initiative. And this is a wonderful initiative. I congratulate all the organizers for this work. The purple shell is to create ecological awareness since young age, because it's targeted to preschooler to 6th, 7th grade, kindergarten to first graders.
Okay, that's awesome. And what is can you tell us a little bit about your main character? What is this individual like?
Well, the main character is the girl.
Okay.
And it's a fictional story, but it's based on a real story. The first time that we brought our daughter, when she was 3 years old, to the beach, she was so mad for all the garbage on the beach. So we decided to start cleanup. So the day of the beach turned into a cleanup day. And the story is about that, but at the end we find something very precious. That's why the book is called The Purple Shelf.
Oh, interesting. Way to tee that up for us, leave us hanging. Why did you feel this story was important to share?
I wrote it when we came home. I wrote a story, like a nice ending, like a memoir for her, with a solution, because to give her life that is a possible solution if we all participate. But she was just 3 years old, but she never forgot the story. So when she was 15, we make a project together, Lessons for Living. It's a collection of books in English and Spanish by Grandma's Treasure, Vanilla and Chocolate, that we did it together for her high school project. And she was the illustrator.
Oh.
So in the stories, it came alive, the stories that they were in the drawer for 15, 20 years. And when she turned 18, we published Grandma's Treasure. When she was 15, Vanilla and Chocolate. Then she entered to the university, and I surprised her with her 20th birthday with The Purple Shell, illustrated by a well-known designer, Valerie Mojica. And it was a surprise for her 20 years later.
Oh my goodness, I bet she loved it. That's so precious. Wow.
I kept it for a whole 6 months to myself. I didn't tell anybody because I wanted to surprise her for her birthday. And yes, it came exactly for her birthday, and we celebrate the Popo Shell 20 years later that we wrote and live the story.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, so since your books are bilingual, are the ones that are accessible in the vending machine, does it have both Spanish and English in the book, or is it two separate versions of the book you'd have to buy?
No, the story is back and forth. Is a one page English and Spanish,
Okay, nice.
and I use the same illustration
Perfect.
for the two languages. No, it is bilingual. Bilingual.
So that's awesome. So, and then it also has because the grammar is obviously different and how to use question marks and et cetera is different in Spanish. So I can see that it's the same.
Yes.
It's what am I grammatically correct in both languages so that kids can see and understand the nuances of each. That's incredible. I love that so much. This
is the purpose also behind the main purpose of the story, that is create ecological awareness. Lessons for living is to build tolerance, to build gratitude, and to reach. So that is the main purpose. But the second purpose is to invite children since young age to become bilingual. And when I go to schools and I read the book, if they understand English, well, of course, I read it in English. They understand Spanish, I read it in Spanish. But the good thing is I found out that this is a good tool for middle schoolers that are starting learning Spanish. So this is a level 1 Spanish. So that was, they found out, the question mark is, they had 2 question marks, one here and one there. The period is outside the punctuation. Those little things, I love them to discover by themselves that the difference between the 2 languages.
Love that. I read to my son in Spanish. There's this book that he really likes that's called No es una caja, mama. So it's not a box, but it's this great little story about how the box can be anything, and he loves that story. And he's always like, Mommy, what are they saying? And I'm like, okay, I know most of these words. But anytime we're fortunate enough to travel to a lot of Spanish speaking countries, and every time I do, I buy him a book in Spanish so that I have to read it to practice.
Yes, it's a good practice. It's an excellent practice. Yes.
Well, and it gets you. I think it's important. I would love for him to be bilingual. That's a hope for me. So I think it's good to let him see how other languages look and sound like. And he has a couple Lunar New Year books that he absolutely loves. So trying to say things in Vietnamese or Mandarin, like you have to look it up and see what it is phonetically, because I don't speak Vietnamese or Mandarin. It's really interesting, but just trying to get him to understand, like, this is what it looks like in this language, and this is how it sounds in that language, and this is how we say it in English, so that he's like very familiar with, just the diversity and nuance of language, because, it's pretty, brilliant, all the different languages out there. I wish I spoke more.
It is. And for children, it's so easy to learn. They learn like a sponge. They are easily learn 2 languages or 3 languages. It's really easy. For adults, it's not the same.
It's so hard. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I practice on my apps, but I'm still not fluent. One day.
Yes.
What does it mean for you to be part of this ROAR initiative and the Golden Ticket to Literacy?
Well, for me, it's a blessing. It's a wonderful opportunity, and really grateful because of the initiative is so creative. Instead of to have books in a vending machine, the kids are so excited. So I'm so happy that the purple shell is going to be on those. And I hope one day will be one in Florida. So I will be so excited to see close by a vending machine here in my state. And yes, it's a nice and grateful and happy to be in this project.
That's awesome. Now, what is some advice that you could offer to any person who wants to be a writer?
Well, first of all, I invite all my students or when I visit the schools to be bilingual. I challenge them to be bilingual because if they want to be a writer, you need to have more than one perspective of the stories that you're going to write. And being bilingual helps you also, well, there are so many benefits, as you know, but it helps you also to open doors in different ways. Like writing bilingual books is an open door to have your books in two venues, in the English market and the Spanish market. So I encourage students to be bilingual and to reach for the stars because the limits are in our head. So we have to just reach whatever goal we want with perseverance and encourage them to keep their dreams.
Yeah,
Nothing is impossible. I wanted to be bilingual since I was 12 years old. When I traveled for the first time to the United States, I was like, oh my God, I want to learn. I thought it was easy, but since it was not in a bilingual school, it was not easy. I had to wait until I was in the university.
Oh, wow.
But yes, but the only thing is when I get there, when I was 18, 19, is that it's really difficult to get rid of the accent. I took accent reduction classes, but still I have the accent. So it's important to start little.
That's okay. I love an accent. I think they're beautiful. I'm glad you have an accent.
Well, thank you. Sometimes it's not so welcome.
Well, I've been a foreigner in a lot of places, so I understand that it can be frustrating, especially not being fluent in a language. But
yes,
I think that we all have a past, we all have a history, and you know what? That's what makes us beautiful. So I think it's perfect.
Yes.
Now, where can students and educators find out more about you and your books?
Okay. All my books and my poems, reflections, and everything that I write are in Luz del Mes. Luz del Mes means monthly light. LUZDELMES. My website is www.luzdelmes.com. My blog, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, what else? Everything that is out there. My YouTube channel, todo.
Bueno, I love it. And when I checked out your website, I was like, ooh, like light of the month, look at me.
Yes.
And I did challenge myself to read the stuff in Spanish before I read the English to see how much I could get, It's a few words in there. That's a few words.
Okay.
I'm like, wait,
I have a little monthly reflection in each month, English and Spanish. So I challenge you to read the reflection in Spanish. And then you check the English to see you got the idea.
And then write down my vocabulary words, right? Like, this is my opportunity to learn.
Yes. They are really simple. I try to write very simple way, poems, reflection, the children's story, with that double purpose to help students practice their languages.
Makes sense. I love it. Well, that is awesome. Maritza, thank you so much for sharing some of your time with us. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to check out your books, especially because I can share them with my kids. And until next time, everybody, I just hope you're having fun reading and writing.
You don't have to read between